You're listening to the Sales Chameleon Podcast. Smarter sales, stronger growth, simplified.
Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Sales Chameleon Podcast where selling smarter starts. I'm your host, Heather Coggins, and today I'm going to be diving into something that's a bit edgy, at least from an emotional intelligence standpoint, but it's most certainly exciting, and that is how to level up your sales game and ultimately life, really, by combining two extremely powerful frameworks. And those two frameworks that I'm going to be talking about today is going to include Dick Schwartz's Internal Family Systems, or IFS, and the second is going to be all about versatility and understanding those social styles, which I've talked about before. So if you are in sales or if you're just wanting to get better at connecting with people, this one is definitely for you. I'm going to be talking internal self-awareness meets a little bit of external adaptability, and trust me, it is a real eye-opener. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so first I want to go ahead and break both of these frameworks down. So if I start with the internal family systems piece, or IFS, that's going to be all about what is going on inside your head. And so if you essentially picture yourself, you've got a calm, confident core, that's yourself. And then you've got, aside from yourself, you've got a crew of inner parts. And these are what's known as managers. And what these managers do is they ultimately try to control everything to try and keep you safe. One of your other parts is known as firefighters. And what these parts do is they essentially swoop in to put out any emotional chaos. And then your third part is going to be your exiles, okay? And your exiles are those tender spots that are really holding old wounds like rejection or fear. And so the goal is to get those parts to kind of just chill out so that your true self can lead. Now, with versatility, that's going to be more about the outside world. And so that's going to be based all about social styles, how people act, how they prefer to communicate, and how they prefer to be influenced. So you've got drivers, they're fast, they're decisive, they're extremely task focused. You've got your expressives, they're big energy thinkers, very people oriented. You've got your amiables, they're more warm and relationship driven and really thrive on, having that teamwork, that collaboration, and really want the approval of their team. And then you've got your analyticals who are really detail obsessed. They're cautious, okay? And they really want to focus on that ROI. Now, versatility says, hey, learn their style, reflect back on what they need, and then adapt your approach to be able to build rapport and make them feel comfortable. Pretty simple, right? But here's where the twist comes in. What if we look at mashing versatility and IFS together? Because sales and life isn't just about reading the room. It's really all about managing what's in you while you do it. And so why does this combination matter? And that's what I want to go ahead and talk through that over the next few minutes. This matters because versatility tells you really how to talk to people, like matching a driver's pace, slowing down for an amiable. But IFS tells you why you might struggle to do that. And so it's like versatility gives you that map, and then IFS really shows you the weather. So those inner storms and your prospects' hidden currents. And so what I want to do is really dive into this a bit more and really focus on how they play together. And so if you imagine that, you're a salesperson pitching to an expressive prospect, we know that they love big picture thinking and they really aren't interested in getting bogged down by all of those details. So your versatility is saying, hey, keep it engaging, focus on the vision, but your inner manager is kind of battling you, right? That perfectionist in you is screaming, over prepare, hit them with every stat. And so what you do is You end up rolling in with a 50 slide deck packed with details, and then boom, their eyes glaze over and it's suddenly a disaster, right? Now here's where IFS swoops in and can kind of help facilitate that more effectively. You notice that manager part is freaking out, and it's kind of, telling you, if I don't nail this, I'm a failure. And so you recognize that and you end up taking a breath, you connect with your calm self, and you ultimately dial it back a bit, okay? Now you're opening yourself to really be able to be adaptable and not just be that data robot. And so when you're able to adapt and present the data in a way that speaks to that expressive's big picture ideas and their grand goals, they're going to be a lot more willing to want to move forward with you in that decision-making process. Now, on the other side of it, maybe you've got a driver prospect, right? We know that these folks are brisk, they're no nonsense. What if they snap and they're just like, hey, you know what? Just tell me the bottom line. And then all of a sudden your inner firefighter flares up and you're like, oh my gosh, they hate me. And suddenly you freeze, right? IFS is there to really help you spot that panic, soothe it, and then ultimately stay present. Once you're able to do that internally, then versatility is able to kick in, allowing you to really match their pace, keep it short, and boom, connection made. Okay, so let's break this down just a little bit further. So let's now imagine that you're with an amiable prospect, all right? Amiables are those folks that really crave trust. They don't want to feel pressured. Now, meanwhile, your inner manager, the control freak, is pushing you to close that deal fast and is really steamrolling the conversation with your pitch. However, with IFS, you're able to use your awareness of that part or those parts, if it's multiple, to really catch that urge. And so from there, you're able to pause, take a step back, and then ask, hey, what do they need here? What does my customer or what does my prospect need here? And then once you're able to do that, that's then where your versatility soft touch comes in. Backed by that self-awareness, you're really able to shift gears and then approach with empathy, not pressure. Okay, now picture that expressive I mentioned earlier, right? Chatty, full of ideas, brimming with creativity. They're visionaries and their energy can be overwhelming. And so your firefighter part may flare up thinking, whoa, this is too much. And so with that feeling, you might then feel the urge to just shut it down, or maybe you even feel the urge to snap. But with IFS, you're able to recognize that trigger, kind of realign yourself with that part, and then that's where versatility comes in and encourages you to really mirror their vibe, keep it light, keep it flowing, and now suddenly instead of fighting them, you're connecting with them. And so here's the kicker. It's not just you that have parts. Your prospects have parts too. So that gruff driver that you've been talking to or working with, maybe it's their inner manager, hiding some sort of vulnerability. If you've been working with an amiable who's shown extreme hesitation, that could be an exile part that's just really scared of conflict. And so you don't have to sit there and therapize them. You want to leave that to the pros. But being able to sense these layers, what that does is it really gives you those insights to ultimately adapt your pitch with more empathy and with more precision. And so why is this as big as identifying and adapting to social styles as far as, tying IFS into the picture? Well, when it comes to versatility, it's great and all, it tells you what people do, how they talk, how they decide, all of that good stuff. But IFS really digs into the why. It really digs into those emotional drivers underneath those decisions. And so where you have that driver that might rush you because they're scared to fail, or an analytical that might nitpick because an exile's whispering, hey, get it wrong in your toast. Ultimately, IFS is going to be that component that helps keep you centered so that your versatility can then come in and work its magic. And so the big takeaway in all of this is that sales isn't just tactics. It's really all about self-mastery and connection. And versatility, that should be your playbook, and IFS should really act as your compass. And when you blend those together, again, you're not just selling, you're relating, you're really bringing in that value, and you're making a difference. All right, and so that is going to do it for today, folks. I really appreciate you hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to give us a like, give us a 5-star rating, or just share it with someone who you think would enjoy or benefit from listening. And also be sure to subscribe so that you're never missing an episode. Until next time, stay versatile, keep mastering your mind and your deals, and I will catch you on the next one.
Thanks for listening to the Sales Chameleon Podcast.